Hi, I'm Clint, and thanks for watching. As always, if you would like to learn more about video production and post-production, be sure to visit my website at clinttill.net. What I'd like to share with you today in this video are some tips and some ideas and some thoughts centered around documentary filmmaking. Now, when you're editing your documentary piece, you don't want to approach the edit in this way and say to yourself, well, I've run out of B-roll here, so I guess I better cut to my interview subject. That's probably the wrong way to go about selecting when to show your interview subject. So here are a few key things to keep in mind as you edit your documentary piece about when to show your subject on camera. First thing to keep in mind, introductions and reintroductions. When we're hearing from that subject for the very first time in your piece, let's see who they are and their credentials. If you're editing together a feature-length piece and you have several different people to interview in your film, and let's say you don't hear from that first person until several minutes later, it might be a good idea to show them again on screen so the viewer can get reacquainted with who it is that's speaking. A second thing to keep in mind are those emotional beats within your story. If an interview subject is getting particularly emotional about a certain subject in the story, you might want to show them on screen. Or maybe there's a contradiction between what they're saying and how they're feeling. So for example, if you're showing your interview subject and they're saying something about how good it felt or how happy they were, but at the same time, their face really isn't conveying that same emotion, there's a contradiction there that might be interesting for your audience. But if you take this approach, be strategic about it. You want to really hit them hard with an emotional moment, but don't oversaturate your piece with it, because then the emotion loses its impact over time. Sometimes you learn a lot about a character in a story simply by what they do and not necessarily about what they say. Remember, it's great if we can learn something as an audience by what the interview subject is saying, but what's more important is how they feel about the topic that they're discussing. Another thing to keep in mind is emphasis. The viewer is taking in a lot of stimuli at one time. Well, sometimes you want the viewer to really focus in solely on what that interview subject is saying, and you don't want your viewer to be distracted by any kind of B-roll that may be happening at that particular moment. So strip it all away. Let's just see the interview subject. Let the audience know, hey, listen to what this person is saying because this is important. Another moment to show your audience the interview subject is to bridge the story between two story beats. We're wrapping this part of the piece up, we're moving on to something else. We're turning the page, we're on to a new chapter. Remember, every choice you make as an editor is telling your viewer something about the story or the characters within the story. And everything you put on screen has an emotional resonance with the audience, whether you realize it or not, even something as simple as showing your interview subject on camera. And that's it. I hope these thoughts have given you some inspiration on how you can think strategically in your next edit. As always, be sure to click subscribe so you can stay up to date on my latest videos. You can always visit me online at clinttill.net for more information on video production and post-production. See you next time.